This is Feature Minus. So I came across this interesting discussion between a customer and a travel agent who books trips to the Antarctic and the Arctic. And so the customer wanted to know about the midnight sun and how he would go about witnessing this phenomenon. So the travel agent said basically you would want to book a trip to the Arctic area, and you want to do this around the summer solstice time of the year, so around June 21st. And you'll be able to go up there and see the midnight sun. And so the customer wanted more information. He said, basically, will you see daylight or will you actually see the sun in the sky? The travel agent confirmed, yeah, you should be able to see the sun in the sky during the midnight hours in the Arctic area.
Yes, sir. I'm looking at taking a trip out to the Arctic. Is this the right number to call for the Arctic?
Yeah, sure. Perfect. That's great stuff. With the Arctic, are you looking to go to Greenland, Spitsbergen? Is there any specific itinerary that you're interested in?
Well, yeah, here's what I'm interested in, and I'm sure you could probably help me. I'm really not sure about the location, and the reason why is I want the best location and the best time of the year to where I can view the 24-hour sun. Can you help me out as far as where at and what time of the year?
Yeah, sure. So basically this would normally be opting for around June, July. Okay. And basically with the sun, there is an itinerary that we have which is called Spitsbergen photography under the midnight sun.
Okay.
So that is one of the itineraries that would be basically with the best views as well as the time frame. So within June, July would be the summertime period in the Arctic, which would be the best ideal time to actually go. And this particular itinerary itself is basically for Under the Midnight Sun, which is a very famous expedition that a lot of our clients do actually opt for as well.
Okay, now is that, just to be clear, that's where you can visibly see the sun for 24 hours, or is it just sunlight?
So it's basically just, it's Under the Midnight Sun would be in particular for the 24 hours.
So but you can see the sun for 24 hours, correct? Under the Midnight Sun. Yeah, I think you cut out for a second. My question is, like, I can see the light from the sun for 24 hours, or the actual sun is visible for 24 hours, just to make sure.
So I think it would be for the 24 hours to see the sun in particular, but I can definitely find more information out with regards to that. But yeah, that obviously alters based on what it is. But I know for this particular expedition, it is stated for Under the Midnight Sun in particular. But I can definitely find out some more information on exactly on what it is about. I do know the itinerary, what it is and where it goes. It's just that obviously with Under the Midnight Sun, I'm not 100% sure if it would be a full 24 hours that you'd actually see the sun.
Okay, and do you guys
so I can definitely find that information.
And so he pretty much confirmed that it's very possible. He said it's a very common trip. People do this all the time. They'll book trips just to see this midnight sun. And if you pay your money with this company, you can expect to see that. So then the customer wanted to know about the Antarctic midnight sun. So this is where the conversation got interesting, because the travel agent said, well, basically, he hasn't had any bookings for that, basically. So he said he's been working with the company for about 30 years. And when people buy tickets to see the midnight sun, it's done in the North Pole. But when it comes to the Antarctic area, the travel agent was pressed on this, and the customer wanted to know basically, well, if we're living on a globe Earth, you would expect to see a midnight sun in Antarctica as well, and this would be done during the time of the winter solstice. So during the Antarctic summer, which would be the winter solstice, so around Christmas time, you would expect to see a sun in the sky if we live on a ball Earth. So the travel agent was very familiar with this concept. He understood the question. So he just said that it's just not been done. In his 30 years, he hasn't ever confirmed that this is a possibility.
Yeah, do you guys also do the Antarctica, or is this just Arctic?
No, we actually do Antarctica as well. And Antarctica, we go basically to the peninsula and back. And then we also have any basically additional itineraries that does actually go with that. So we normally go to South Georgia as well, Falkland, South Georgia, and we also cross the circle as well. So yeah, we do go to Antarctica as well.
Now, do they have, in Antarctica, do they have the Midnight Sun, under the Midnight Sun tours on that one as well?
No, unfortunately not. So that tour doesn't basically operate for Antarctica. It's mostly more of a cold time over there. And over there it would basically be where our itineraries would run from November up until March. And in this time period, we don't have that particular one, what we do offer, unfortunately.
So you wouldn't be on the Antarctica one. You're not guaranteed to see the 24-hour sun on that one.
No, you won't find that in Antarctica, unfortunately. Only in the Arctic.
Why do you? What would
Antarctica? It's most likely just to be where we would have our penguins, and you will see your wildlife with your walruses and things like that. And obviously to cross the circle, which would be the 60-degree point. But when it comes to the midnight sun, you'll only find it in the Arctic.
What would be the reason? Why can't you find it in the Antarctica? Just curiosity.
So normally because of the sun that basically goes up and north, and because Antarctica is basically in the southern point of the continent, and when you discover the seventh continent, the sun literally does only come out a very small part throughout the day, where it's mostly about cloudy and rainy and very cold, where in the Arctic you'll get a much more amount of hours of sunlight, and basically in the Canadian Arctic it will be much more ideal, and because of the time frames and the weather conditions down south, you won't be able to actually get a full 24 hours of sunlight. It's very, very seldom where you'll find that in Antarctica. Antarctica is more of basically the seventh continent, so that you can say that it's the last continent on the earth, where in the Arctic there's more of an itinerary thing to go through, and it's more ideal for warmer weather conditions opposed to Antarctica.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking, like, as the Earth, being a globe and it's got equal tilt, all year around, I would think that both Arctic and Antarctic would have the 24-hour sun, but you're saying that's not the case. So the Arctic's is the only one to see the 24-hour sun.
Yes, I'm 100% sure about that. When it comes to even our expeditions that we do offer, if I look at Antarctica, it's basically we have, like I mentioned, to the peninsula and back. Then we have to South Georgia, and then you go to the peninsula and back. And then there's another one where we have the Epic Antarctica, where we'll basically go to South Georgia, Falklands, and we'll go to cross the circle, and then you'll go to the peninsula and back, which is our longest itinerary, which is 23 days. And even that doesn't have a special one where we will have the opportunity under the midnight sun, where you'll actually have that full view of the sun throughout the whole day. There's only partial amounts of times where you will have sun, but not for the full 24 hours.
Ever, right? Ever in Antarctica? It's never like that?
No.
Okay.
Never like that. For all the 30 years that we've been traveling, we haven't had any particular person actually come back and state that that is the case, where they found that for the full 24 hours there's basically been that particular time frame that the sun has been out.
Okay.
I know that it does, the sun does set a bit later within the evening because of it obviously being on the lost continent. But it's not that the sun will be out completely for the full 24 hours.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, well, you've given me some information that I can go back and look at, and I'm going to do a little more research to figure out So you said June, July for the Arctic. So that's what I'll be looking at. I'm going to get on here and look at a couple of cruises or whatever and see what we can figure out. But I appreciate you answering my questions.
Of course.
I appreciate your help, sir. You have a good day.
No worries. Awesome. Have a fantastic day further, and I'll chat to you soon.
You too, sir. Thank you.
And so if you're spending money with that company expecting to see the midnight sun in Antarctica during the winter solstice time of the year, he said, well, I can't guarantee you're going to see that, because out of his 30 years, he has never heard reports of this. He has no proof that this exists. He said, you're not going to see it. He basically said you're not going to see a midnight sun in Antarctica. It's just not going to happen. And so this is some serious confirmation. I wonder if Will Duffy even pressed his company about this, because that's what it takes. I mean, we should probably conduct more interviews like this with travel agents, because Will Duffy obviously didn't do his homework. He's just expecting there to be a midnight sun in Antarctica during the winter solstice. But according to this travel agent, that's not a thing. So, it'd be interesting to get more results and maybe do some repeatable interviews like this and see if we can probe more travel agents about this. But really, December's coming up pretty fast. So before you know it, we'll have this experiment to conduct. And it sounds like Will Duffy isn't even going. It sounds like he just assumes that there's going to be a midnight sun down there, so he doesn't even need to attend. It sounds like he's just sending people down there and he's financing the trip, but he's not going himself. So to me, that sounds like he's being stubborn about all this. I think originally he thought that flat earthers thought you can't even go to Antarctica. So then it turns out, yeah, we never said that. Flat earthers believe you can go to Antarctica, but like the travel agent said, you can book a trip down there during the winter solstice or any time of the year, really. But if you specifically want to see the midnight sun, he said basically, yeah, he can't guarantee that. He said what you're going to do is you're going to end up going down there to a small area of a peninsula of Antarctica, and you can see some penguins and some whales or something, and then you're going to go right back. So he said, yeah, that's the most he can promise you if you're booking a trip to Antarctica, is just maybe see some penguins or so, and you get sent right back. Flat earthers never said you can't go to Antarctica at all. We knew you could do that. So Will Duffy, I think he thought the opposite. He thought we were saying you just can't go to Antarctica. Yeah, we understand you can, go to a small area, see some penguins, and then you get sent right back. That's what we've been saying all along. So yeah, I don't think Will Duffy did his homework on this one, and he seems like he wants to defend science. He doesn't want to understand that we've been lied to by science. These are the same people. The science community are the same ones who brought to this world evolution and the Big Bang Theory and atheism. And this is who he is standing up for. Will Duffy considers himself a Christian. So does MC Toon, apparently. So I find that interesting that they're trying to defend science, and they're so embarrassed by flat earthers. They said basically it sounds like they think that flat earthers are ruining Christianity and making Christianity look foolish, so they don't want no parts of it. It's like they're defending science. It's like they don't want to prove that there is proof of intelligent design. It's like, what's wrong with you guys? So basically, this is not surprising though. It's like with people like Will Duffy, he's the type that he's showing you right now. It's like you're asking him about the shape of the earth, and he comes across this information about flat earth, about the shape of the earth, and he's looking up in the sky. That's the first thing he does, is he finances an experiment that has to do with the sky. So if you're trying to determine the shape of the earth, you don't start looking up in the sky. That's foolish. That's foolish. It doesn't really make any sense. I did a poll and asked you all, is this final experiment going to prove the shape of the earth? And when you guys voted, you guys confirmed that this experiment will not determine the shape of the earth. We have our evidence about the shape of the earth by common sense logic, like water lays flat. The earth is mostly water. There's no proof that water can curve around a ball. All evidence shows water lays flat. And So a lot of people say the easiest explanation is usually the correct one. So when it comes to that, right there, you can see that it's a stretch to believe we are living on a ball Earth. Plus, people aren't living upside down in Antarctica and South America and Australia. That sounds foolish. That's not the easiest, best explanation. You know, that takes an imagination to believe that. You have to believe in what science is telling you, to believe that people are living upside down on a ball. This is the logic of Will Duffy and MC Toon and FTFE. This is what they believe. They believe in the fairy tales, that you're living upside down on a ball and all around a ball and flying through space and water's curving when all the evidence shows us that water lays flat. So they are the ones with this imaginary world view that they have accepted. And the whole heliocentric solar system idea is based on pagan sun worship. That's why people like Pythagoras was introducing it, and the Catholic Church accepted it eventually. And they went full heliocentric globe Earth, when before that, it was pretty common knowledge that the Earth was flat. So according to this travel agent, the idea of going to Antarctica to see a 24-hour sun during the winter solstice is just a hypothesis that has never been conducted before. People aren't booking these trips. Now, as I analyze it in a non-biased way, I mean, I can understand that, yeah, there's a lot of red tape when it comes to Antarctica. You got to go through the Antarctic Treaty, and it's, I'm guessing, much more expensive to go to Antarctica versus the North Pole. So I can understand why it's more common for people to view the 24-hour sun in the North Pole area, in the Arctic area. I can see why this is the common trip that people book to see this phenomenon of the midnight sun. But, you know, when it comes down to it, out of this travel agent's 30 years of experience, he hasn't never once confirmed anyone going down there to see the midnight sun during the winter solstice. Like, how is that possible? That means that there's something to this. All the video footage we saw has been edited. And so, you know, to me, I would guess that you're probably not going to see anything like the midnight sun down in Antarctica. I would bet that it would go dark, just like you would expect on a flat Earth. And if there does happen to be any daylight, that's one thing. But you have to specifically see the sun in the sky for there to be any credibility to, you know, what they're saying as far as this Earth being a ball. You would have to, like, actually see the sun in the sky circling in the sky. You wouldn't be able to just say, oh, well, there was daylight, so that's a 24-hour sun. No, you have to visibly see the sun. And with the evidence of sundogs, we see there's reflective properties of the sun. And with the evidence of rainbows, so there's reflective properties of the firmament, I should say. So with rainbows and sundogs, that's all proof of the firmament being reflective. And so there's explanations as to why there could possibly be a sun in the sky, you know, or what would look like a sun in the sky, I should say. And then with the brightness of the firmament, we saw the documents, the declassified documents that talk about how government agencies know about the brightness of the firmament. So just seeing daylight in its own would not prove a globe Earth. There would have to literally be a sun in the sky. So yeah, there's explanations for a possible daylight if that's what happens. But, you know, if they go down there and it gets dark, that proves flat Earth. So that would be actually the ultimate victory for flat Earth, is for them to go down there and it gets dark. And when it's supposed to be a 24-hour sun in the sky, that would prove the flat Earth. And so, you know, there's no reason to believe that won't happen. I mean, it's very possible. Well, it's coming up. So in a few months, we'll see the results of this trip. Either way, though, like I said, it shouldn't be conclusive according to, you know, the vote I took. And, you know, when you guys participated in the poll, that's what we concluded, is that this won't determine the shape of the Earth. So you don't look up in the sky to determine the shape of the Earth. That's just foolish. So when it comes down to it, we'll see what happens, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm going to leave some links if you want to do more research with me on this subject. I've done several videos on the final experiment already, so check those out if you haven't had a chance. I'll also leave links to my other channels, my social media, my Feed Your Mind store, my free email newsletters, and much more. If you would like to support this channel, please donate as little as $1 to help keep this channel online. If you can become a monthly patron or a monthly YouTube member, I'd appreciate it. That would help me get out much more documentary style videos. So your support there will help me get more documentary style videos out. So I appreciate all of you out there. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This has been Feed Your Mind, signing off.